a unique opportunity to invest in a high-quality U.S. transportation infrastructure asset. At least that's what an Australian-based company is saying about its $5.7 billion bid to acquire the Indiana Toll Road Concession Company, or ITRCC. IFM Investors says it has entered into a definitive agreement to purchase the ITRCC, which has been in Chapter 11 bankruptcy since September 21st. The agreement requires ITRCC to continue to operate and maintain the toll road and to collect all toll revenues. The deal still needs approval from the Indiana Finance Authority and other government entities. IFM Investors says its purchase of the toll road company is an attractive investment for its infrastructure portfolio and that it will maintain the 157-mile highway to a high standard, providing maximum availability and usability for its customers. The company significantly outbid a joint proposal by Lake and LaPorte counties to purchase and operate the Indiana Toll Road. This week, U.S. Senator Joe Donnelly of Indiana introduced his service member and veteran mental health care package, 3 bipartisan bills to help improve mental health outcomes for veterans and service members. The military care package requires DoD and VA direct health care providers to use the best available tools to identify and treat mental illness. It creates incentives for health care workers to learn about the unique mental health challenges faced by troops and veterans, and it addresses nationwide provider shortages in the DoD and VA by providing mental health training for physicians' assistants.
We think our vets could be better served if DoD and VA are aligned, so that they can better recognize and manage the mental health conditions using best tools. And the legislation aims to ensure that the providers have the knowledge, the training, and the tools needed to deliver the best care.
Senator Donnelly's military mental health care package is a continuation of his legislative effort to bring down the alarmingly high suicide rate among military personnel and veterans. Well, federal lawmakers are working to push their policies on the Hill. Northwest Indiana lawmakers are in the crucial month to see their bills make it through the State, House, and Senate. With about half this legislative session already gone, local lawmakers are getting outside of the General Assembly to get in touch with constituents. Lake County Democrats from Indiana House District 14 and surrounding areas are holding public forums all month long as a chance for residents to share their opinions. At a recent talkback in Gary, residents seem to agree on their top priorities for the remainder of this year's General Assembly, which ends on April 29th.
People are concerned about the RDA bill, the continuation of the RDA. They're concerned about the school boards for East Chicago and for Gary. The people are concerned about education and funding for education. Those are the major things that were hit over and over and over again.
This is for that purpose of getting public input from our constituents on issues that they have an interest in. The legislature is all about the friendly art of compromise, and no one gets all of what they want.
The next forum is set for noon on Saturday the 14th at the Maryville Town Hall. It's free and open to the public. Big news for Hoosier consumers. The credit reporting industry is making changes that could impact your credit score. The 3 biggest agencies, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, have agreed to change the way they handle errors and unpaid medical bills. To simplify disputes on credit reports, the agencies are replacing often difficult-to-navigate automated systems with dedicated trained staff. Local financial expert John Amatuli says the agreement also changes how companies report unpaid medical bills. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, medical bills account for more than half of all debt collections on credit reports.
The credit reporting agencies are going to give a 6-month leeway before any debt collection from a medical bill shows up on your report. And one of the biggest benefits and changes is that when we have 6 months to make that correction as a consumer, and when the insurance company makes the payment on the medical bill, the credit reporting agencies have to immediately take it off our credit report.
Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion will now have a link to get a free credit report on the front pages of their websites. By law, consumers are entitled to 1 free credit report per year. A racial slur caught on tape gets 1 local high school in hot water, and a school for incarcerated parents brings new hope to some Hoosier families. Those stories, plus Steve Walsh, coming up next on Lakeshore Report.
Lakeshore Report wants to hear from you. Send your thoughts, concerns, questions, and story ideas to tvfeedback@lakeshorepublicmedia.org. You can also reach us on Facebook and Twitter at Lakeshore Report. Make sure to tweet us using the hashtag NWIPride, and you may see your comments on air. Lakeshore Report, providing you region-focused content.
School officials in East Chicago are mending fences with parents and students at Central High School after a school employee used inappropriate language towards a student. The comments were laced with a racial slur, and the entire conversation was picked up on a parent's voicemail. An employee at Central High School in East Chicago, Indiana, is in trouble after she used racially charged language towards a student.
But she was wrong. You know, she was wrong.
The student was put on an in-school suspension, and the employee called to inform the parent. When she ended the call, she thought she had hung up the phone, but the line was still active. The conversation was captured on the parent's voicemail. We have heard the conversation, and in part of the message, she refers to the student as the N-word.
I was very disappointed. We don't tolerate inappropriate language for classroom, for anybody, kids or a staff member, and that was disappointing to me. We did investigation, and I want you to know that. I want everybody to know that we take every allegation very seriously, and we looked into that. We interviewed some of the students, and I could report to you that the person have already written a letter of apology.
We have learned that the employee has worked at the school for many years, and in her letter of apology, she says she's extremely sorry for the incident. School officials say she has decided to resign. The employee's behavior has some parents now wondering what the teachers and employees might be doing to their children when they're not looking.
See, I worked in the schools for 33 years, but I was in the maintenance department. But I've seen how teachers, react to certain situations. Having or being in that profession, she should have thought about it before reacting. Other than that, she tripped over her own feet.
The superintendent says school employees simply should know better.
I would say all of us, not only professional but also the kids, need to behave respectfully toward each other, toward the building principal, toward building staff and teachers. And we should do exactly the same thing. We should be a good role model for them.
Now, while most of the parents we spoke to agreed that the employee was wrong, they also agreed that being a teacher or an employee here at the school is not easy.
Because they're human beings, and these kids, some of these kids, are rough. They ain't getting no home training. And so they bring it out here and take it out on the teachers. And she just lashed out, but she's supposed to lift our kids up. And she was all wrong for that.
Not all teachers are like that. You got just one action out of one teacher doesn't represent the whole school. That's how I see it.
The superintendent says he wants the students to know they are his top priority.
I want to make sure all of my kids feel that somebody here at the top, you care for them and everybody else care for them, and together as a team, we could make this a very, very good school system.
School officials say there will not be any new policies put in place because of the incident, but they will be making sure that all employees abide by the current policy that requires all staff to be respectful to students. Lakeshore Report is covering another story involving parents and their children. Hillary Powell is here now with more.
That's right, Stephen. An alarming number of Hoosiers have a criminal record, and more than half of those currently in prison or jail have a child, with the average child being 8 years old. But there are community groups working hard to fill the gap for those absent caregivers.
Spiritual activities together, church, temple, mosque.
Textbooks, a teacher, and lessons on faith and love.
Walk away.
Mike Tishner's weekly parenting class is active, with dads scribbling down ideas and shouting out answers.
What?
That's Christian, whatever. Christianity. Yeah.
No two answers are the same, but all these parents have one thing in common. They're serving time at Westville Correctional Facility in Westville, Indiana.
Every day seems like it goes forever. Every day. From the time you wake up until you go to sleep at night, it seems like it takes forever.
Michael Felker of Lake Station, who is serving time on a 6-year sentence for attempted robbery, says there's no better time to be a better dad.
Most of my life I've been relaxing or doing whatever I want, and like he was saying today, to put in the positive things and you're going to get something good back. I'm tired of what I've been getting out of life.
Feel guilty.
25 fathers meet for Tishner's faith-based 11-week course where they talk about everything from spirituality to masculinity and how their lives relate back to their little ones.
They're my inspiration. That's the thing I love the most in life is my kids, but I've done everything to get myself and put myself away from them.
And experts say the class is needed more than ever. A March 2015 report from the Indiana Youth Institute says Indiana has the country's second highest rate of incarcerated parents, with 11% of youth having a parent behind bars.
These data really jumped off the page in a surprising way. Over the last decade in the state of Indiana, we've gone from about 21,000 people being incarcerated to nearly 30,000 people being incarcerated, a 50% increase. Immediately, these kids are at far greater risk of doing poorly in school. They're much more likely to live in poverty. They are less likely to have a stable home and be in a stable community. We need to look at, finding assistance and special supports for these kids.
These are this is some years ago, 2011.
It's March, but Charlotte Strohorn of Gary is already getting ready for a July camp for children of incarcerated parents.
They're from all over Northwest Indiana.
Camp New Happenings, supported by the Episcopal Diocese of Northern Indiana, seeks to give children a 1-week break from thinking about a mom or dad behind bars.
It has a great deal to do with their outlook on life. They do not want to go home. It's probably the saddest time. Several years ago, a little boy was just hysterical. And he said, "Miss Charlotte, please, just let me stay one more day. Just one more day."
Strohorn says the camp has helped more than 100 children go to camp for free, where the fellowship can be therapeutic for them.
We have a campfire every night, and the campers sing and dance around it. And a little boy stood up, and then he said, "My mother said I won't see my dad until I'm 19. Can you imagine a child not being able to be with a parent?
Felker hopes to better understand his children, who are 16 and 11.
I hope to learn how to relate better. They're going to be shocked when I come out of who I've always been, because I've always been wild and crazy. And then I'm going to come out and I'm going to try to be their dad. There's a gap there. They're not going to want maybe a dad from me right away. They're going to be like, "Dude, you've been crazy all your life. I'm not listening to you. You're not going to tell me." Or I want to learn how to get their respect from them.
We learn about parenting by watching our own parents.
The takeaways from both programs for parents and children sound, well, related.
It says spirituality is love, kindness, caring.
They need love, care, safety.
Both organizations rely heavily on donations. This year, Strohorn says the cost to provide a free camp for each child will be about $400. For more information on these groups, you can log on to our website, lakeshorepublicmedia.org. A new program in Maryville is helping parents get their children back to school. Lakeshore Report's Steve Walsh talks with two of the experts using a two-pronged approach to tackle truancy.
So Maryville has a new truancy court. Adults whose children miss more than 20 days of school will likely find themselves before Town Court Judge Gina Jones. They'll have the option of either paying a fine or enrolling in a program run by Nick Neal, who is Director of Services for Geminis. Both of them are here in the studio. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So give me a sense. What are you hearing now from parents? This is you just started this up, but what are the stories? Why are kids? This is kids who have missed 20 days of school or more. What are you hearing?
You know,
them?
it's a little bit different. We've had some parents that are absolutely apologetic. They understand. They now know that you cannot just make your kids late. And then just the other day, we had a parent who, well, I have too many kids, and they watch movies in the morning, and I just can't get them late. And if one's late, they're all late. So there it is. So they need parenting. They need a little bit more parenting classes versus just a slap on the wrist.
So, all right. So, do these parents? I mean, why? What sort of help do they need? Honestly,
they can need anything from simple parenting classes to time management. It could be some therapeutic issues within the home as well. A lot of times, parents have multiple children and they have to go to work, and so the oldest winds up babysitting the youngest, which therefore causes the oldest to miss school, so that can be an issue as well. Some other issues could be that the child just simply decides not to go to school after mom or dad has went to work. And so, we're coming in, finding out after the fact, and so is mom or dad, and so the parent is in a vicarious position. And it's to say now, can I not work? I mean, Judge, I have to work, or, Nick, I have to work. I can't participate in services, or I can't quit my job to get my child to come to school. So there are a lot of issues that go with this.
That's a position I'm in. I mean, I often have to go into work before my daughter was in high school, before she has to go to school. You always wonder whether or not they're actually getting on that bus or finding a way to, the way to school. So give me a sense. What advice do you have for parents who are in that position?
I think that getting involved with us through our Community Partners Program, we can kind of go through some steps. We always say parenting is like the catchphrase word, but it's more than parenting. It can be everyday life skills. Your time management, for example, your expectations of your children. We can go through a curriculum to give them some expectations. It doesn't mean they're going to follow them, but knowledge is power. And I think if we just let our parents know what are some of the resources that are out here that can help you to kind of help your kids get to school, and that's kind of what we're here for, some resources.
So what do you find mostly? Are these parents that are they're struggling, they're in a bind themselves, or are you seeing a lot of parents that are slacking off? They're simply not paying attention and making sure that their kids are getting into school?
So far, we've had a little bit of both. We've had some parents that, one young lady, she has an issue because they co-parent. So that's another avenue that we had not even considered at first when we started this, that, sometimes dad drops them off. Well, mom got the ordinance violation because mom is listed as a custodial parent. So now we have to bring dad in as well because mom is like, hey, I get them there on time. It's not me. So
sometimes it's dad's fault. So,
absolutely.
And you're dealing with more and more single parents. And so, man, boy, it gets complicated when you have young children. But really, it is, this is not just a matter of that it's a good idea to get your kids to school. It's actually against the law, and you can actually do some things to parents.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Well, one of the things for our ordinance violation, I can order, if they're found guilty or if they plead guilty off the bat and they don't want to enter into the Geminis program, I generally will do a max fine of up to $200 and order some community service. And that $200 includes court costs. So that is their issue at that time. But if the problem continues, when they come back to me, then I'll send it straight to juvenile court at that point, where they won't have that option any longer. Or I will give them one more shot to take the CAPS program.
Well, unfortunately, that's where we're going to have to leave it. This has been Maryville Town Court Judge Gina Jones and also Nicholas Neal, who's the Director of Family Services at Geminis. Thanks to both of you for being on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
One Northwest Indiana community is about to have a unique opportunity to experience the healing power of music. John Kane has more on that in this week's Eye on the Arts.
Hi, joining me for this edition of Eye on the Arts is Philip Bauman, music director and conductor of the LaPorte Symphony Orchestra. Phil, good to have you back.
Great to be here, John. Thanks for inviting me.
You're celebrating your 20th anniversary season.
20 years in LaPorte. It's been a wonderful run.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's gone by like a flash. But
yeah, doesn't it?
It does.
It's amazing. It's true. So you have a classical concert coming up.
Yes, March 22nd, we have a great program featuring 3 composers whose names start with B, Bach, Bruckner, and Brahms, and is featuring choral music on the first half of the concert and a Brahms symphony on the second half of the concert.
And I understand that there's a health component to this concert?
Yes, we're so fortunate to have IU Health LaPorte Hospital sponsor our concert every year. And they brought a health component to this. And this year's theme is Healing Music, Healing Touch. So they're recognizing, of course, that music has a great healing power in its various formats. And so people will come not only to hear an uplifting concert, but maybe heal that certain part of them that needs healing that day.
Exactly. It could be anything.
It could be. I mean, sometimes it's just your spirit that needs it.
Right. You're fortunate to have them as a sponsor. That's
great.
Oh,
we're delighted. They've been great partners for us.
So do you have soloists featured in this concert?
Yes, we have 4 vocal soloists coming from around the region. We have Sarah Garshore, soprano. We have Emmanuel Karaman, a tenor, coming from South Bend. Jory Jennings is coming from Chicago, mezzo-soprano, and Peter Vandegraff, bass baritone, coming from Chicago as well. Some people might know him from his work on WFMT.
Exactly, I know that name.
Yes, he probably put some people to sleep at night with his midnight program.
That's right, not in a bad way.
Not because of his music, but because of his, the time of night.
Right, and it's soothing. So, and then I understand that our very own Northwest Indiana Symphony Chorus is performing on this concert.
Yes, Nancy Mink, Dr. Nancy Mink has been preparing the chorus to come over to bring that 100-voice choir to join us, along with Illumination, our symphony chorus of about 20 singers, to partake in the Bach and the Bruckner. So it's going to be a great celebration of voices, some tremendous music, great music on that program, and we're delighted to share this with our community in Michigan City.
Well, that's great. So, and this one is being performed in Michigan City?
Yes, this will be at the Elston Theater, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, a matinee performance, so they'll be out when it's still daylight.
So poor Beethoven is left out of the 3 Bs this time.
No, we'll substitute maybe Bauman or,
Bauman, that's it.
The 4 Bs.
Okay, thanks, Phil, for being here to tell us about it, and good luck with the concert. And thank you for watching. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Eye on the Arts. Eye on the Arts is made possible in part by South Shore Arts, the Indiana Arts Commission, and the National Endowment for the Arts, a federal agency.
Twice a month, Lakeshore Report teams up with the Society of Innovators and Ivy Tech Northwest to showcase some of the most forward-thinking projects and people the region has to offer. This week, we're checking out a unique competition that brings inventors from all over the country right here to Northwest Indiana. Those innovative thinkers are hoping the Big Cell will take their big idea to the next level.
Innovation is the Big Cell Entrepreneurship Competition. It is a competition unlike any other where people get an opportunity to pitch their idea in front of a live audience, and they get to vote instantly for their favorite ideas. Entrepreneurs need a platform to pitch their product. We're giving you a platform to pitch your product. And the way I look at this competition, it's Shark Tank meets American Idol. Think about what American Idol has done. You get to sing, and the entire country gets to give you an opinion of, do they like your singing? And in a sense, this is what this competition does. By the end of the day, you will know that you have a great idea or not. But also, it doesn't matter if you win or not, you're going to get a lot of feedback from the people in the audience, whether you should move forward, whether you need to change something about your product, how do you alter your product. So it's unique in its effort, because usually you get 4 or 5 judges, and the audience gets to watch, and supposed experts, or at least the experts, you're hoping they come up with some of the best ideas that are out there. Here, I wanted to make it a little different. I want the audience members to vote, because these are potential customers of yours. Originally, my idea was to get Northwest Indiana inventors and entrepreneurs get going, but I left the door open for people from Chicago to apply. I left the door open for West Lafayette students to apply. And when I left the door open, I found that people throughout the country, the very first year, we had people that applied from California, we had people that applied from the East Coast, we had people that applied from Texas. We provide different type of prizes as well. We'll give you a little bit of money, but we'll also provide you with legal time, marketing time, accounting time, and I'll continuously work with you throughout the year to hopefully mentor you and get you to the next level. I know we have some terrific entrepreneurs here locally who I don't even know if they realize how great this competition is and how many people from across the country apply to it. To me, innovation is what makes this country great. And through hosting events like this and getting entrepreneurs to start their ideas right here in the region, I think that is the ultimate goal for this competition.
If you're interested in participating in this year's Big Cell competition, you have until March 27th to apply. Visit Lakeshore Public Media online or check out the Society of Innovators website for more information. Stephen, what are you working on for next week?
Well, we get some people concerned about the new 911 consolidation. They're concerned that it might be threatening lives. We talked to both sides, and we'll have that this week.
Excellent.
And of course, always tweet us at Lakeshore Report and hit us up on our Facebook page, Lakeshore Report.
Yeah, we'd like to know what you're thinking. We'd like to know what stories you'd like us to cover, and for any information that you want from us, you just know where to reach us. We thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time on Lakeshore Report.